So, good morning, everyone, and welcome at this webinar that we are starting this morning. We did a lot of things, a little bit, getting authorizations and getting some tests and all these things that go with doing things during COVID-19. But we are getting there. I think we will be able to manage these small challenges. So as we are going to start now, I want to welcome everyone that has managed to join us despite all the difficulties and the challenges. We are going to be doing things this way. Dr. Callandro, which is one of the directors, the co-directors of C3SA, is going to open the session. Then Dr. Bright Malo is going to do his presentation, and we will move to David, and then to the ladies, because we are still missing one person that is a bit getting a bit late, so we are waiting for them to join us. Then that will be April. But I'm sure we are going to be able to manage with that. So, Dr. Callandro, if you would like to open this webinar this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Laban, and yeah, welcome everyone. It is my big pleasure to welcome you to the second webinar of the webinar series organized by the constellation of centers, of cyber capacity centers. The constellation of centers is a network of three academic institutions dealing with cyber capacity research and education across different regions in the world. And C3SA, the Cybersecurity Capacity Center for Southern Africa at the University of Cape Town, was established last year in March. With the aim of improving the capacity of sub-Saharan African countries to tackle emerging risks in cyberspace. So today the topic of this webinar is very important, particularly for our region, because we want to try to understand whether attacks to vulnerabilities of IT and network systems have an impact on people, on users, and that's what we will discuss with our experts that are joining us today. So we will try to understand whether the vulnerabilities of users in sub-Saharan Africa are different from those of users in other regions of the world. Why it's that, and what are these vulnerabilities, and which kind of response we need to build from a policy perspective. So what capacity is still lacking in the region in order to tackle these emerging risks and threats for the users in the region. But without any further ado, I would like now to give the microphone back to the moderator of this session, Dr. Laban Bagui, our postdoc researcher and senior researcher, who will moderate this panel discussion. So I'm going to leave you in his capable hands. And yeah, welcome once again. Thank you for being with us. Enjoy the webinar.
Thank you very much, Dr. Callandro. I hope that our audience will be pleased with the many things that we have in store for them. So I will try to share, because I have a small presentation that I wanted to make just to get us in the environment of what we are going to be talking about. So I'm just going to share my screen. So welcome again. Okay, it's back in definitely. Great. So welcome to this webinar, we are going to talk about the vulnerabilities of people in sub-Saharan Africa. I'm sure that Dr. Callandro have talked about the C3SA and how it relates to RIA, the Department of Information System, UCT, and the GCSCC, and NUPI. So I'm going to get into the crux of the matter. Here, what we have noticed, and this is why we are doing this particular webinar series, is that one of the main problems we are facing in sub-Saharan Africa is that we don't know very much what is going on in matters of cybersecurity. The reason we don't know, there are many reasons, of course, but one of the main reasons why we don't know is that we are not much aware because not enough awareness was done to tell us what is going on. And there are plenty of stories going on, and people are telling us this is what is happening. This person has stolen money in that bank account. This company was completely overwhelmed by a particular distributed denial of service and things like that. We are not very much aware of what all that means. We don't even know what that means. We can be a little bit worried from time to time that the money we were trying to send through M-Pesa didn't get through, or someone else received it instead of ourselves. So that's where we get a little bit annoyed, and then we want to know what's going on. But that's not the only thing that happens there, because as a user of computer, because you are using a cell phone, it's easy for you to access critical information, to access critical services. And by doing so, if you are not the victim, you can turn an organization into a victim of a cyber attack. So there are many things that happen where people are rendered vulnerable by being exposed to the internet and to computers. And when I say vulnerable, meaning that they are going to be in trouble in many ways, maybe in trouble at work, maybe in trouble at home, maybe in trouble with families. I'm sure we have heard of all kinds of things that are happening to people. Interpol, sometimes, I think it was March or April, published this report where they were talking about the tremendous increase in cyber attacks directed to sub-Saharan Africa, which was not the case before. But from the moment the pandemic started and then the lockdowns and all the restrictions started, immediately that particular trend became very visible. And when it became visible, then we had a new problem that we had to face. Fake news was there about the disease, the COVID-19 disease pandemic. And at the same time, all kinds of fraudsters were working around the clock, sending us all kinds of messages and links that we just have to click on. And every time you clicked on something would happen. And a lot of lives were, let's say, disturbed by strange things appearing on social media and other platforms. So what we need to keep in mind is that as a people, as any individual, we are a data subject, meaning that we basically are a source of information which a lot of entities can just get and use it either to further their particular ambitions or objectives, or they will use it maybe to improve products or other things. We are basically data subject, and they are working towards having an access and even having a hold on the information that we can provide about ourselves and about our surroundings. Surroundings, understanding being whatever occupation you are in, whatever people you know, families and friends, and of course, in a wider way of looking at things. For instance, if someone wants to hack a person which tends to be around you without being particularly a good friend of yours, it might always, not always, but it might also use you to do so. So the point here is that as individuals, as people in society, we have these vulnerabilities, these things that get to us, these tendencies to find ourselves in situations where we are not able to resist or to oppose a particular attack or particular attempt to our livelihood or to our friends, and to other things that are happening to us. Just a second, I'm just going to admit some new attendees. I think, yeah, they arrive a little late, but they will be right in right now. Thanks. So what we are trying to do is to make sure that people are able to identify where they are vulnerable, that they are able to see that by being in this position or by being in this particular situation, we find ourselves in a situation where we cannot resist or we cannot oppose any attack or any threat or any risk which is directed to others. So that's what we are going to be talking about most of the time today. Right. So these are four main types. I'll put it like that. I categorize them this way because it might be easier to get where I'm trying to go when I'm talking about people vulnerabilities, and when this webinar is going to try to make you understand. The first vulnerability is the lack of cybersecurity awareness. It comes from the fact that either we were not exposed to enough knowledge about cybersecurity, or we did not even attempt on our own to get exposed to such, because we have to understand that there is also a responsibility that we need to go and look for more information about how to deal with threats and risks coming from our usage of computers and the internet. Then we have a poor cybersecurity mindset. Maybe we have a security mindset that, well, let's say, a little bit lax. We let a lot of things slip. The point being that if you have a proactive cybersecurity mindset, you are able to do or behave in such a way that, let's say, basic and easy cyber threats will not be reaching you. You will be able to kind of cover yourself a little. And it doesn't mean that you will be entirely covered, of course. You will always be able to, not able, but you will find yourself, sometimes there are things you just can't do much about. But for the basics, you will be able to do something. Then you have system and data, I would say, irresponsibility. Your cell phone, your computer, your home, and all these things, the responsibility for these things start with you. You need to know that this is my cell phone. I have to make sure that not everyone have access to it, because the information that is there, either I'm doing my mobile money on it, or maybe I'm accessing all kinds of social media websites, or whatever that I'm doing on it needs to be, let's say, taken care of and dealt with a lot of concern, because if someone who has bad ideas get his hands on it, immediately you find yourself, you don't know what to do anymore. Also, we have this particular item, which shouldn't be a problem if we claim to be from Africa in a way, because we are supposed to have that communitarian type of understanding of society. And in this case, we lack a little bit of solidarity, meaning we don't have in our usual network the right people who understand a little bit of cybersecurity. And if there are some of them, we are a little bit wary, maybe they might be the one targeting us or something like that. But the whole point is, the more friends you have out there that are ready to work with you, to support you, to provide you information, the better you will get at protecting yourself against a lot of cyber threats. So we lack much of that. Even if we know that some people might be useful in that sense, because we don't also have the proper mindset, we will not be asking them to provide us with help and assistance when we have a cybersecurity issue. It sometimes gets to the point where it's either you throw away the application, when someone accesses your hard drive and suddenly just encrypt the whole thing and you can't use it much, then if you don't know someone who can help, so maybe the IT guy around the corner, then you are in serious trouble. So we'll look at how these vulnerabilities can be attenuated, can be reduced in such a way that we will be able to move forward. And of course, all of it is to make sure that we build that particular cyber resilience, allowing us to participate in, let's say, the global economy, to participate in everything that makes our particular environment work. And when I say particular environment, I mean our interactions with our friends and family at work, and with, let's say, the broader world, continent and the world, because we participate in purchasing things using the large, I'm not going to name them, but the very large marketplace, online marketplace that are out there. So we will require a few things from, let's say, the legislator, the practitioners, and we are hoping that everybody will be able to come together and we will be able to work out how to build that cyber resilience by limiting our vulnerabilities as people. So without waiting too much, because I think they have to go and talk to you about all these things, we are going to have our various presenters, speakers mostly, and we are going to have a conversation with them. So we have here Dr. Bright Emily Maldor, we have Mr. Mopeng David, Ms. Sorina Sefa, Ms. April Ochoy, and they are all going to tell us about how to make sure that we can know this is what we are doing and it is a vulnerability, and how we can go about, let's say, overcoming that vulnerability, limiting its impact on our lives. So I'm going to ask directly to Dr. Bright to start and tell us what are the cybersecurity vulnerabilities for people in Sub-Saharan Africa in terms of behavior and the configuration of their home systems devices. Thank you very much, Dr. I will stop sharing my screen, and then I will pass the screen to Dr. Maudo.